Send it to me and I'll do it.
No, es que no trabaja. He's in England.
I'll put it into an offer, okay?
It's here. Can you message him right now? Just tell him like, hey, like the press conference is running behind. This is here. Come on. Hey everyone, come on. Please start lining up. Everyone, Denise. We're gonna be starting in 3 minutes, Maria. So if you can all stand in this side. Yes, please. We're gonna be starting in 4 minutes. Oh my gosh.
How are you?
I'm like,
Mismo right now, don't worry.
yeah, I'm like trying to process everything.
Thank you very much.
So 3 minutes more. Thank you so much.
I hope
Where
I
is?
can.
Okay. So Ray, I'm gonna introduce you, and then Saul, you're gonna go next. Then we're gonna have Jorge. Where's Jorge? Okay. Jorge. Right now I'm like all over the place. Remind me your last name. ¿Cómo te apellidas? Mendoza.
Yescas.
Mendoza, ¿qué?
Yescas.
Yescas.
Sí, sí.
Y luego el Cónsul
Cónsul
General
de México, Phoenix.
Okay, and then Joe Garcia, what's your title?
Which one you want? You can put Executive Director of CPLC, or Chicano por la Causa, Action Fund.
Action Fund.
Yes, Chicano por la Causa Action Fund.
Okay, and then we have Adam. What's your title, Adam?
VP.
Field and constituencies at the National Immigration Fund.
Perfect. Thank you. And this would be Maria. Okay. Hi, Pearl.
Take our masks off when we come. Okay, then do Director of Public Policy. Yeah, they do Director of Public Policy.
Public policy.
Or Chicano por la Causa, and leave out the Action Fund part.
Of public policy. Thank you so much.
I wear two hats.
Yeah, I know. Any of us do. Okay. Okay.
You have my last name.
Adam Esto.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Right now I'm like,
to be like,
I know.
Silence your phone.
Yeah, everybody has phone in silence. Okay, we're going live in 1 minute. Like I'm gonna start crying right now. My heart is beating so hard. Good morning, everyone. We're going to be doing this press conference in English and Spanish simultaneously. Muchas gracias a todos. Buenos días. My name is Reina Montoya. You can spell that ReynaMontoya. I am the founder and CEO of Aliento. Right now we have with us dreamers and allies in a nonpartisan fashion coming together to talk about the decision of the Supreme Court decision. It's been days since we've been waiting on this. It's been months of anxiety, of stress, of not knowing what the Supreme Court of what's going to be deciding on the DACA case. Myself, I am a dreamer. I'm a DACA recipient. I was born in Tijuana, Mexico, where I had to flee violence. Unfortunately, my dad was a victim of a crime. He was kidnapped by organized crime in Mexico, and that is the reason why we ended up migrated in the first place. Since then, with the courage of my brave father, looking for our safety, we were able to migrate to Mesa, Arizona, the place that now I call home. I grew up there. I got my first kiss there. I went to school. I learned how to drive. And now we're standing in this moment with a bittersweet moment where part of me, I'm so glad and so relieved that I can catch a breath again, that many dreamers are going to continue to renew. But yet I face an uncertain future, along with 700,000 dreamers, that we don't know if the Trump administration will once again decide to follow protocol, follow the appropriate steps to end the program. In this moment, now more than ever, it is important that Congress acts and delivers a permanent solution. Our lives are at stake, our future is at stake. So we're gonna be hearing from dreamers who are DACA recipients, and also for those dreamers who were too young to apply for the DACA program because President Trump decided to end it on September 5th, 2017. We're also going to be hearing from community nonpartisan organizations that have been allies and standing in our side through all these years. Let us be clear that the DACA program did not come out of the goodness of President Obama's fight, but it was many organizations, dreamers, who decided to speak out, come out of the shadows, and do multiplicity of actions, from lobbying, from doing direct actions in civil disobedience. And now we are here outside of ICE because we know that we can be subject to deportation. But in this moment, it is a call to Congress to act and deliver us a permanent solution. We're gonna get started giving us the legal brief of what this decision means for DACA recipients with Rey Ibarra Maldonado, who is a wonderful immigration and civil rights attorney who's gonna be breaking it down. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí el día de hoy. Mi nombre es Reina Montoya, yo soy una soñadora que tiene DACA y vamos a estar escuchando las historias de otros soñadores como yo, unos que tienen DACA y otros que no calificaron porque fueron muy jóvenes para poder aplicar para el programa. Y también vamos a escuchar del abogado que nos va a dar su interpretación legal de qué significa esto. Rey Ibarra.
Reina, thank you so much, and I can hear the emotion and the passion in your voice, and I know the stress and anxiety that you've been going through recently, and hopefully today's decision finds some peace, happiness, and joy amongst the hundreds of thousands of DACA recipients that we have in the country. It is my honor, it is my privilege to stand here with these warriors behind me and beside me that for years have been fighting for protection from deportation machine that is behind us, that resulted in DACA being created in the first place, that resulted in DACA continuing to exist. Today's decision is an affirmation of all their hard work. Today's decision is an affirmation of the sacrifices that people have made for decades for social justice. What we saw today was the Supreme Court in a 5-4 decision saying, Trump, your decision was arbitrary and capricious to end the DACA program. In fact, you didn't even take into consideration that it might be legal for you to continue the program and continue deferring action and not deporting people. That wasn't even in your analysis when you ended the program. From an administration that says we are doing unlawful or illegal things, it is quite ironic to get from the U.S. Supreme Court, our highest court in the nation, that the Trump administration is the one that violated the law when they ended this program. Very clearly they said the decision was arbitrary and capricious. It needs to go back to the district courts to give the Trump administration yet another opportunity to issue another erroneous decision to end the program. It also was very clear that the Trump administration did not look into enough the reliance interest of DACA recipients, that they applied for work protection, they applied to not be deported, and the administration did not take that sufficiently into consideration when they decided to cancel the program. What happens next is the case gets returned to the district courts where the litigation started. The Trump administration can further attempt to explain the problems with their case. They can also choose to reissue a new policy decision so that they can create different reasons for terminating the program. I don't believe that's going to happen given the political climate right now. My hope is that the program continues and we don't see any further action from the Trump administration. We most certainly need the DREAM Act to be passed on an up and down vote now to end this once and for all. And it is absolutely necessary that we reach out to our congresspeople, our senators, to demand that action and not simply wait for the courts to issue decisions and continue to drag this case on for years to come. Thank you so much. And one more thing to clarify, the decision today, in my opinion, leaves the program as it was yesterday. People who are in the program can continue to renew. People who are ever in DACA can continue to apply for the program. If you've never been in it or if you want advanced parole, I do not believe this decision opens that up. However, we could see future action from the district courts that widens that up. So hopefully we see that as well. Thank you.
Could you say your name? I missed it all.
Sure. So it's Rey Ibarra Maldonado. First name's R-A-Y, last name's Y-B-A-R-R-A, space M-A-L-D-O-N-A-D-O.
Now we're going to be hearing from Saul Rascon Salazar, who is a DACA recipient himself. He is one of the 25,000 Arizona dreamers that have been impacted by this court decision. He is a student at LMU in LA, and he is one of the Aliento Fellows. Saul?
Can you please spell your first and last name, please?
Yes. Good morning. My name is Saul Rascon Salazar, S-A-U-L space R-A-S-C-O-N space S-A-L-A-Z-A-R. This morning was beautiful to open up my phone and see what was in this news cycle. Although it's a start and it's our perfect opportunity to push Congress for a permanent solution, it's definitely a great start. This is a win for America, like Nancy Pelosi said, this is the American way. This is a win for both the right and the left. It shouldn't be partisan, but unfortunately that's the way it is in this climate. This is going to bring more innovation, more hope, and a better climate politically. I have a brother at home who's undocumented, and both my parents are undocumented as well. And what I want to push for Congress for a permanent solution is that yes, DACA recipients can now renew. I can finally renew my DACA status, but we need to leave all the millions, or we need to include all the millions of undocumented people that I know from. I graduated from Brophy College Preparatory, so from Brophy, from Loyola Marymount University all the way in Los Angeles, or even up in Capitol Hill. We need to finally push for a permanent solution and include those people too, as it will bring great economic power. It will place the United States in a better position internationally, and it will ultimately have the United States have that power again that we are losing due to the pandemic. Thank you. Now I'm going to do it in Spanish. Buenos días, Arizona y Estados Unidos. Esta mañana fue una mañana increíble para poder abrir mi teléfono y leer lo que estaba en las noticias. Yo sé que aunque esta es una manera de empezar la conversación y de poder renovar DACA, tenemos un camino muy largo que tenemos que viajar. Tenemos que empujar al Congreso que pase legislación para poder tener soluciones permanentes para los millones de indocumentados en los Estados Unidos, y especialmente para esos estudiantes en la preparatoria o en la universidad a veces que siguen indocumentados y siguen sin poder tener esos privilegios que tienen los que tienen el estatus de DACA. Yo creo que, como dijo Nancy Pelosi, esa es la manera americana. Debemos de seguir poniendo presión en el programa de DACA y en todos los Estados Unidos en realidad. Y así juntos podemos hacer una diferencia y un cambio en los Estados Unidos. Ya es hora. Gracias.
Now we're going to be hearing from Jorge Mendoza Yescas, who's the General Counsel representing Phoenix here. So, General Counsel.
Sí, bueno. Hola, muy buenos días a todos. Soy Jorge Mendoza Yescas, Cónsul General de México en Phoenix, Arizona. Es un paso que se ha dado hacia adelante, es una batalla que se ha ganado para cientos de miles de jóvenes, en su mayoría mexicanos, en todos los Estados Unidos. Falta un largo trecho para que se haga justicia total para todos estos miles de jóvenes. Quiero felicitar a las organizaciones, a los activistas, a gente como Reina Montoya, como Aliento, por todo este esfuerzo que han empeñado todo este tiempo y que bueno, empieza a rendir frutos. El camino todavía es largo, pero se va avanzando. Es difícil entender cómo un país que ha invertido tanto económicamente y culturalmente en jóvenes, en niños que están listos para trabajar, para prosperar, los quiera fuera de aquí. No se puede entender ni legal ni éticamente. Nosotros en el consulado estamos a favor de los Dreamers y en la medida de nuestras posibilidades los estamos apoyando. Los queremos invitar a que se acerquen con nosotros para obtener asesoría y orientación. También podemos ver la posibilidad de conseguir fondos para renovar los permisos DACA. Y bueno, pues quiero felicitar a todos los jóvenes Dreamers, sobre todo los de aquí de Arizona. Más del 80% de ellos, de recipientes DACA, son de origen mexicano. Es una batalla, pero la lucha debe seguir. Muchas gracias a todos.
Muchísimas gracias, Consul. Now we're going to be hearing from Joe Garcia, who is the Director of Public Policy at Chicanos por la Causa.
Good morning, and what a good morning it is. I think the important thing to note about DACA is it is a successful program. There is no failure there. There is nothing wrong with the program. The failure has been in leadership in Washington, D.C. for failure to pass comprehensive immigration reform, and especially the Dreamers Act, which can be done now. So we need to look at what we can do now. This is only a pause. Dreamers can take a breath, but they still have to hold their breath because there is no guarantee yet. That can only come through the change of a law of this land. And from a public policy standpoint, DACA is a very good program, and more people realize the assets that Dreamers are to this nation. That includes businesses, community leaders, churches, educators. We're getting that. The vast majority of Americans support the Dreamers and support full citizenship for Dreamers. So this is just a step. It's one step, it's a big step, but there are many more steps ahead for the pathway to citizenship, and Dreamers deserve that now. Thank you.
Can you please spell your first and last name?
Joseph Garcia, Joseph space Garcia, Garcia, and I'm the Director of Public Policy at Chicanos por la Causa. Thank you.
Now we're going to be hearing from a dear friend of mine, Adam Estel, who is the VP of Field Constituencies and National Immigration Forum.
Thanks, Frena. Good morning, everybody. It's my privilege to be here on behalf of the National Immigration Forum. I'm the Vice President of Field and Constituencies, and I represent faith leaders, business leaders, veterans, and others who care about immigrants across our country, who speak to the value of immigrants culturally, economically, to our security. Dreamers are, as has already been mentioned, warriors in our community. To be honest, the way that we've treated these young people, I don't know if we deserve them in this country, but I'm so glad that they're here. I'm glad that their parents are here, and we will continue to fight for a permanent legislative solution, not only for these Dreamers, but for their parents who had the bravery and foresight to bring them here. We will continue to fight for everyone who deserves a place to stay in this country and be part of the American dream. As a person of faith, I'm so thankful for my brothers and sisters who are part of this country, Dreamers in our churches, Dreamers who are pastors, Dreamers who are leading our country spiritually, and immigrants who are as well. And this decision by the Supreme Court today is a wonderful step in the right direction, but as has already been mentioned, we need a permanent legislative solution for these young people and for their families. We call on our senators, Senator McSally and Senator Sinema, to be part of an effort that cannot wait. As has been mentioned, this decision today does not completely solve this problem, and it does not completely solve this opportunity that we have as a nation to welcome these incredible young people in a permanent way so that they can be part of the American society without an expiration date. Thank you. And my name is Adam Estel, A-D-A-M space E-S-T-L-E, and I'm with the National Immigration Forum.
Now we're gonna be hearing from a undocumented student who did not qualify for the DACA program, and this is the stories that we're talking about, like Maria Garcia, who due to the Trump administration decision to end the program, she was too young to apply. Here in Arizona alone, there's 7,000 students like Maria who were a little too young to apply for the DACA program when the Trump administration decided to end it back in September 5th of 2017. Maria?
Good morning. My name is Maria Garcia. I graduated from Phoenix High School. I am an undocumented student attending ASU to major in engineering. My heart was so full this morning to hear the news that DACA will not be ending. My brother, along with other of my cousins, have DACA right now and they are working for their families. However, I was not able to apply for DACA because I was too young. Along with my other friends and other dreamers, our future is still full of uncertainty. So I asked Congress for a permanent solution. Buenos días, me llamo María García, me gradué de Tempe High School y voy a atender Arizona State University. Soy indocumentada. Esta mañana mi corazón estaba lleno porque decidieron no parar el DACA, porque mi hermano y mis otras primas ahorita están trabajando con DACA para sus familias, pero hay muchos dreamers que no tienen esa oportunidad y necesitamos una solución. Nuestros sueños no son ilegales. Gracias.
There are 2.1 million dreamers living in the United States. Dreamers like Maria, who are going to be studying engineering at Arizona State University. But we know that it's not only DACA recipients and dreamers, but we are our parents' wildest dream. If it would have not been for the courage of my undocumented parents to migrate after fleeing violence, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you after graduating from ASU, from Harvard, from Grand Canyon University. So right now we're asking dreamers, if you are a dreamer right now and you don't know what to do, we're asking you to text the word dreamer at 33222. Once again, text the word dreamer at 33222 to find out the updates, to make sure you get the information and take care of your mental health. 2, if you're an educator, a business leader, a faith leader, or a community member who cares, you have the power to call Senator McSally and Senator Sinema and plead them to have a permanent solution for dreamers like me and 25,000 DACA recipients and close to 100,000 dreamers who were too young to apply, who did not qualify for DACA. We need urgently action. We cannot be waiting until elections for our lives to be in limbo. Elections are important and we're seeing the consequences of electing Mr. Donald Trump. And right now he has the power to continue the steps, to follow the steps and end the program. So we need Congress now more than ever to step up, be a leader, be a legislator. You were elected in order to protect the people. There's 30,000 dreamers in the front lines of COVID-19. These are people's lives. Our plea to you is to call, send letters, and let your senator know that we need a permanent decision now, not in November, since our lives continue to be held by a threat. We'll be having interviews afterwards of dreamers, undocumented students, and allies. As you were able to see right now, faith communities, business owners, and dreamers are standing together. And let's be very clear, there's 9 out of 10 Arizona voters that support a pathway to citizenship for dreamers here in the state of Arizona. 9 out of 10. I would say that we're more popular than candy. So how can we get even better than that? Right now, we catch our breath, we say our prayers, and we thank for these protections for not only people like me, but people like Maria, like Saul. And tomorrow, we're gonna wake up and we're not gonna sleep, and we're not gonna stop fighting, we're not gonna stop praying, we're not gonna stop advocating until we have a pathway to citizenship, not only for dreamers, but for the 11 million undocumented brothers and sisters, moms and dads that continue to live in the fear of deportation and the anxiety of what tomorrow could bring. Muchísimas gracias a todos. Ahorita les estamos diciendo a todos los soñadores que pueden tomar acción para mandar un mensaje con la palabra Dreamer al 33222 para que puedan informarse, a sanar emocionalmente. Tenemos grupos de terapias, información y también cómo poder renovar sus DACAs. Y también queremos darles gracias a todos los líderes de negocios, de fe, para decirles que al final del día estamos en un momento donde 9 votantes de Arizona de 10 apoyan a los soñadores. Muchísimas gracias y llamen si quieren ayudar a los soñadores hagan una llamada al Congreso y díganle que tengan una solución permanente. No hay que esperar hasta las elecciones para poder hacer el cambio. Muchísimas gracias. There's also going to be another press conference of some other groups that wanted to talk about, so you are welcome. We are right now opening up for a specific individual interviews. We have dreamers, undocumented students who were too young to apply. We have faith leaders, attorneys about what does this decision mean. Thank you so much, and let's pray, let's advocate, and let's act to ensure that dreamers like me have a pathway to citizenship, not tomorrow, not until November, but now. Thank you.
Hi everyone, from the press. We're going to be having follow-up remarks over here. If you would like to put your equipment over here, that'd be great. Thank you.
Are we feeling this morning? Part of the press conference and show solidarity and support for today's decision. Please stand behind Belen or here in the who's going to kick off the program. Media, if you want to put your microphones on the podium, please do now as we're getting started. All right, let's join. We're ready?
If we wouldn't have worked for this, I don't think we would be celebrating today. So take in that celebration. I think that today is a good morning, except for Donald Trump and Stephen Miller. So after we have these speakers that are about to speak about their experience from different organizations, if you come to me, I'm happy to set up any one-on-one interviews that any of you would like afterwards, or if you have any specific follow-up questions. But first, I'm going to introduce Corina. She is a good friend of mine, and we've been organizing for years, so give it up for Corina.
Bravo, Corina!
Good morning, can you hear me? Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This always happens to me. I think I wasn't prepared for this moment. When the decision came this morning, I was in shock, like maybe many of the folks here. I also am a DACA recipient, and I've been organizing with this community standing behind me for years. And it's incredible to see that today the Supreme Court of the United States, the highest law in the land, sided with dreamers and sided on the right side of justice. So like Belen mentioned, today you're going to hear from organizations that I'm going to shout out today. Lucha, Puente Human Rights Movement, Undocumented Students for Education Equity, the Arizona Dream Act Coalition. Damn, y'all are loud. And then we also have the One Arizona Coalition as a whole being represented today. These organizations have been on the front lines of organizing here in Arizona and have taken our message nationally to get us to this moment. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our first speaker. Today we're going to be going over our reactions and also our demands, because the fight doesn't stop today, does it? No! And so we're going to be putting out our community platform and making some call to actions. So we're going to get started with our first speaker, and I am glad to say that all of the speakers you're going to be hearing from today are documented folks and also formerly documented folks. So we believe in centering the voices of those folks because they are the leaders of the movement and the ones that have gotten us to this place. So I'd like to introduce Arisdelsi from Lucha.
Hello, my name is Arisdelsi, A-R-I-S-D-E-L-C-I, Gonzalez, G-O-N-Z-A-L-E-Z. I am the member engagement organizer at Lucha and ACE. When deferred action for childhood arrivals was first announced, my motivation, self-worth, the feeling of hope and acceptance were through the roof. I felt for the first time safe and secure in my future. And when Donald Trump announced that he would be rescinding DACA, my mental health hit new lows. I was unprepared for and had no resources for. I struggled through depression and anxiety alone. It wasn't until last year that I started to put my mental health first that I noticed a huge lack of resources for DACA recipients like myself. That's why I became certified in mental health first aid. To close those gaps and make sure that we as a community could have access to mental health resources to all people regardless of status. And today, for the first time in a long time, I have felt safe and secure again. To my fellow DACA recipients, let's celebrate our victory today. We have each other and we will continue to support and show up for our community. I know that this decision has weighed heavily on our minds since September of 2017. I know firsthand the constant state of fear and anxiety that the Trump administration has caused our families to be in. As a household provider, I feared being denied the right to work and to provide for the family that depends on me. But today I break out of this state of survival mode that is unhealthy. We have the right to exist in peace. We have the right to speak and be heard. And it is within those rights that I say to you, you are not alone. Prioritize your mental health. I urge you to celebrate this win during the next few days, to remember to take care of yourself and those close to you, to check in with your fellow DACA recipients and share the joys of the message of joy.
We love you! We see you! We love you! We see you!
We must take time to alleviate the stress and anxiety that we have felt. We will continue to be here and demand justice. Know that you have a community behind you, ready with resources. I leave you with this number. For updates and resources, please text DACA to the number 474747. In solidarity, gracias.
Next, we're going to be hearing from a community leader, an attorney, Daniel Rodriguez.
Undocumented, unafraid.
Undocumented, unafraid. Undocumented, unafraid.
Queer and unashamed.
Queer and unashamed.
And here to fucking stay.
Yes!
My name is Daniel Rodriguez. I am an immigration attorney, and here in Arizona, I'm the first undocumented immigration or undocumented attorney in the state. And part of the fight for DACA. It was mentioned that the decision by the Supreme Court stated that Trump's decision was arbitrary and capricious. But really, you can say that about the entire Trump presidency, which will soon come to an end. Now, legally, what does this mean? I do believe that the Supreme Court has opened the door for the entire DACA program as it was announced to be implemented. It's going to continue to be a fight in the courts, but the door has been opened. And I do believe that dreamers need to continue pushing for more. Second, I believe that the Supreme Court, I know the Supreme Court said, yes, President Trump can issue a new executive order and resign the program again, given better reasons. To that I say, bring it. Yeah! The Latino voters made DACA happen. Latino voters will hold Trump accountable. Yes. And Latino voters will demand after Trump that Biden take the same step for our parents. Yeah! And if Congress wants to act, you can. But I do believe part of the Supreme Court's decision today is, if you don't act, the president may. So Latino voters, the work needs to continue. Documented dreamers that already have DACA, renew your DACA. For those that couldn't apply for the program but would otherwise qualify, talk to your attorney about what this means for you. And lastly, remember in November, because Trump, you want to fight us? We've shown you more than once we'll win. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Buenos días.
Buenos días, mi gente. Aquí Karina Ruiz con el Arizona Dreamer Coalition. Tengo chills. I am super excited about this day, this morning. There was little hope for me on the Supreme Court to stay on the right side of history. And but I don't think that this happened just because. This was the effort that we have made along the past months, where we have shared our stories, where we have shown that DACA recipients like myself are in the fibers of this country, and that if removed from our communities, the harm was not just going to be for families, but for the entire communities across the nation. I am a DACA recipient. I came to the United States at the age of 15 years old with my parents, and I have 3 children. I am a mother of an 18-year-old, and my son has 2 children, one 2-year-old and a 10-month baby. My other sons are 10 and 8. And I honestly was very fearful for the possibility of being separated from my children. And I know that, like many of the people like me, there's a lot of dreamers that have families and that have that same fear. And today we show that when we fight, we win. So we must continue fighting. To me, I have participated in the Dream and Promise Act campaign back in 2017, an effort that last year, on June 4th of 2019, the House of Representatives passed H.R. 6, the Dream and Promise Act, which would have provided a pathway to citizenship for immigrant youth and for TPS holders and DED holders. That has been stuck in the Senate for a year, over a year, people. My voters out there, we need a Senate that takes action and works towards a solution. We must demand that H.R. 6 is put for a vote so that permanent protections are granted for immigrant youth, and then demand that they continue working for protection for our parents. Locally, we must demand that the collaboration between ICE and CBP and police and local enforcement stop. That's right. Citizenship does not guarantee that we're going to be alive. Does not guarantee our rights and the dignity and humanity that our communities deserve. That has to come from the work of local authorities. Defund police. Invest in education. Arizona, we're 48th in the nation, and we are putting money on our police, on the freaking police, to criminalize our people? That must stop. We must join with the Black Lives Matter movement and demand that police is defunded, that the investment is made in our community commerce, in education, and with this pandemic in healthcare. And that's why we stand here, and we're going to take action to say that we're going to melt ICE eventually. We're going to abolish ICE because that's the right thing to do for our communities. Estamos aquí porque la HR6, el Dream and Promise Act, necesita ponerse por un voto en el Senado. Y necesitamos que localmente los gobiernos le quiten dinero a la policía para que dejen de la colaboración con el ICE y sigan deportando y matando a nuestra gente de color. Gracias a todos. Undocumented!
Unafraid!
Undocumented!
Unafraid!
Here to stay!
Here to stay! Here to stay! Here to stay! Here to stay!
Good morning. My name is Maxima Guerrero. I am Youth Director at Puente Human Rights Movement, a business owner and a DACA recipient. I came to the U.S. at the age of 5. I've been living here in Phoenix for the past 25 years. For the past years at Puente Human Rights Movement, we have supported countless DACA recipients to fill out their applications for DACA. For years, we have spoken directly with families every day whose loved ones are detained and deported. These are our loved ones trapped into the immigration system. The intersection of criminal and immigration, and the two pathways we must navigate when we come in contact with police. Through programs like 287G, Secure Communities, and local and federal ICE collaboration, we result at the hands of ICE. Today's decision is a huge relief for the 25,000 DACA recipients in Arizona, including close to 7,000 DACA recipients who are COVID-19 frontline workers in this state. And we know for a fact that the Arizona economy and the COVID-19 crisis could not afford DACA recipients to be at the risk of deportation at this time. We need DACA recipients like myself to continuously feel safe in our own communities, the communities where we belong, where we grew up. Even with today's decision, we call on deportations to stop, to prevent the separation of families, and to stop the dehumanizing treatment inside detention centers. Detention centers like Eloy, where from last Friday at 22 cases jumped to 122 cases this week. There are 871 COVID-19 cases inside ICE detention centers nationwide, and there was a death of a guard at Eloy here in the state of Arizona. We're not only enduring dehumanizing conditions, but also being exposed to possible death. These are complete human rights violations. We call an end to local and federal enforcement collaboration. Maricopa County is second in the nation to process people from their jails to ICE. And we call an end to deportations. With this decision, we continue to host Know Your Right workshops, and within the community, do all that we can to keep each other safe, provide our own resources, and to stay in community. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Denise, D-E-N-I-S, Alvarez, A-L-V-A-R-E-Z, and I am with Undocumented Students for Education Equity. This morning's decision has given me some sort of relief. It means that for now, I'll still be able to one day have my own classroom in South Phoenix, where I built a home in the community that welcomes my family and I 16 years ago. The community from which I have learned so much from and hope to give back to through education. For now, I'll be able to look forward to my graduation in the spring of 2021 and still be able to renew my DACA in April. Although I am still safe from deportation, and I've never been detained by ICE, I am no stranger to the detention facilities just 61 miles southeast of here. This time last year, I missed a call from my dad while I was at work. I didn't realize then the pain that phone call would cause, and the shock that I had unknowingly guarded myself from by not answering. That call changed our life. In this call, it wasn't my dad on the other line. It was an ICE agent trying to reach myself or my sisters to tell us he was detaining our dad. It wasn't out of consideration or a process. It had everything to do with abandoning a car as they were taking my dad from a busy intersection. My dad was taken by ICE officers on his way to work. My mom texted me letting me know what had happened. This morning was like holding your breath and not remembering how to breathe. Not registering the words that you're reading because how could that have happened?
He was home before I left for work, thinking, would it have changed anything if I stayed a little later? And trying to remember whether I had seen him the night before, antes de que se fuera a dormir, before he had gone to sleep. All of these thoughts came at me at once, but there's no time to process the pain because we needed to find out where he was. We needed to get that bond request ready, translations for marriage and birth certificates, statements from friends and family, so much in so little time. Those 61 miles begin to feel like it was down the street, and I basically memorized the road to Florence from how often we went. As activists in the community, well-informed and with proper legal support, it still took 2 days to find my dad, and we got to see him on the 3rd. Being able to see my dad was like finally exhaling from the breath that I was holding in the moment that I missed that phone call. It was painful to see my dad in a place that had already torn apart so many families before mine. We were one of the lucky ones to be able to get my dad out of there with a bond. This decision means that I am still protected. My sister is still protected. However, my dad is not protected. 11 million other people are still not protected. This win doesn't mean that we stop advocating and stop fighting for the protections of all of our community, not just a portion of it. So before I step out today, I ask you to pressure your Congress leaders and ask them to defund ICE and CBP. Don't let this happen to educators like me, business owners, and others who simply saw an opportunity to provide. Our community should not have to live in fear anymore.
We still have another speaker, but before we continue, we would like, I know this is really heavy, so if we all could just take a deep breath. So breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Thank you all so much for sharing. We have our next speaker, Vianney.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vianney Deanda, V-I-A-N-E-Y, D-E-A-N-D-A. I am currently the Census Communications Organizer with Progress Now and in conjunction with One Arizona. I've been a DACA recipient since I was 16. And today I am overwhelmed and thankful to be surrounded by all the amazing leaders that motivated me to become involved. It's great to see y'all. Today we are here to celebrate with great joy that DACA will remain as we continue to stand in solidarity with Black Lives Matter and our shared efforts to defund the police. The police forces that are out here abusing their power, taking the lives of our community members, are the same ones separating our families and deporting them. I'm talking about 287G, which invites police departments to collaborate with ICE. And they place holds on us, and they move us into detention centers, whether we have DACA or not. I would like to emphasize how optional this is, because it is an open invitation. Yet, for the past decades, the Phoenix Police Department, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and others across the state have decided to actively work with ICE and terrorize and attack our communities. These police departments are tearing our families apart without an ounce of culpability, the same way they are claiming lives. Although I've been a DACA recipient since 2012, it never protected me from racial discrimination on the road. And even that, from the moment DACA was enacted 8 years ago, we had to fight for those driver's license and equitable education, and at times it felt like our basic livelihoods. But the one thing DACA gave me that no one can take away is the courage to speak up for my community. The courage to come out and say, enough is enough. We obtained deferred action in the first place because this community fought for it. The same way we will continue our efforts to defund the police and to stop their collaboration with ICE. We demand an investment in our communities for our health, our education, so that we can all thrive. I call upon our local government, our city mayor, our state legislators to support us. Stop funding police violence. Stop collaborating with ICE. We will lead on this solution, even if they do not. Arizona is not the state it used to be 10 years ago. We've come a long way. This community is stronger than ever, and we will continue to move forward. There is no room for ICE in Arizona. Thank you.
Defund CBP! Defund CBP! Defund CBP! Defund CBP!
You've heard from all of these folks who are directly impacted and how they're feeling today. And one thing that resonates and is the same in all of these speeches and remarks is that we have to continue this fight. Today we celebrate. Tomorrow we stand up again because we are a voice for those who may be too afraid, for those who may be in different circumstances and not as privileged as we are, to be able to stand up and demand that we be treated with dignity and demand that we be treated with nothing less than respect. To summarize our demands, we are asking Congress to act now and to push forward H.R. 6 that would grant citizenship to all 800,000 undocumented youth across the country. We are asking that our local elected officials at every level, state, city, and other departments take action, whatever side of the aisle you're on, to support Dreamers. While we wait for legislation, you have the power to make things like the tuition equity a reality. You have the power to end collaboration between ICE and the police. You have the power to move local legislation that will benefit and protect undocumented youth. We're also asking for the defundment of the institutions that continue to terrorize, detain, deport, and kill our communities. We are demanding. We are demanding the defunding of CBP. Defund CBP!
Defund CBP!
Defund CBP!
Defund CBP!
Defund ICE!
Defund ICE!
Defund ICE!
Defund ICE!
We're also in alignment and stand today in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement. Because there are such things as Black immigrants. They are part of our community. They are us and we are them. And we know that the same institutions, the same police that are attacking immigrants are attacking our Black community. So today we stand in solidarity and know that we have a common enemy, and that is white supremacy.
That's right.
An enemy that we are going to take down. Today I kissed my little boy, my 5-year-old son, goodbye. And it was the first morning that I was able to breathe since last November when we heard the arguments on the DACA case, which I traveled to DC to listen to. And I can honestly say that I will take today to celebrate, as we should, and have a mental health day like Arisdesi mentioned. But I know that tomorrow the fight continues. And I thank you all for being here and for being part of this. To my fellow DACA recipients, I want to remind you to text DACA to 474747 to continue to get updates from our community. Muchas gracias a todas las personas que participaron hoy. Para dar un resumen de lo que estamos pidiendo que el Congreso de los Estados Unidos pase esta legislatura HR6, para dar una protección permanente a todos los Dreamers y TPS. Y también estamos pidiendo que cada persona que está elegida aquí como que tiene una posición de poder en el Estado haga algo para ayudar y estar en el lado de los Dreamers. También pedimos que se defundan,
Que le quiten los fondos.
que le quiten los fondos a ICE y CBP, que son las instituciones que están a cargo de deportar, detener a nuestra comunidad. Y también estamos aquí para decir que estamos con el movimiento de Black Lives Matter, de la comunidad negra, en decir de que queremos que los fondos también salgan de la policía y vayan a cosas como la educación y programas para la comunidad. Somos la voz de muchas personas que todavía a lo mejor no la han encontrado y hoy celebramos, pero mañana la lucha sigue. Thank you. My name is Corina, Korina, Iribe, Iribe. And I think that concludes our press conference. We will have all our speakers available for interviews after, and we will also, for community members who joined us, be doing a symbolic action around the detention center, so stick around for that.
¿Quieres decirlo en español?
También para los que se quieran quedar, vamos a hacer una acción aquí con la comunidad, y para la prensa, si quiere hablar con una de las personas que habló, pueden hacer también después de esto. Gracias.
When our community is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When our community is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back. When our community is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Sin papeles.
Sin miedo.
Sin papeles.
Sin miedo.
When I say people, you say power. People.
Power.
People.
Power.
When I say people, you say power. People.
Power.
People. When I say people, you say power. People.
Power.
People.
Power.
Helen, can I please speak with Karina Ruiz?
Yes. Let me go
No
get
justice! No peace! No justice! No justice!
I'm communication director. I'm with Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. You hold up, please.
Hey, how are you? Congratulations.
Thank you. Very good.
Una Corte Suprema que principal, John Roberts, pues decidió a favor de las mujeres y sobre todo los liberales, manteniendo al tanto. Vamos en vivo a las 11 de la mañana, vamos a las 4:30, a las 5 especial, y aquí los andamos ustedes necesitan saber sobre